Welcome back to Red Shikshan Sanstha Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya Karzat and Department of Zoology. I am Dr. Indira Patil, Associate Professor in Zoology. Today I am going to talk on topic internal environment. The introduction to internal environment, the topic for MSc second, semester third, the paper first, animal physiology. So the topic internal environment. The internal environment for animal, it is of two types, intracellular environment and extracellular environment. During the last lecture, we talk about the external environment. The external environment, that is a environment, external environment of animal in which animal lives. And internal environment means the environment inside the body. Thus, it is of two types. In body, there are many cells. Or in unicellular animal, there is a single cell. That is environment within the cell is the intracellular environment. And environment within the body, outside the cell, outside the cells, is called as a extracellular environment. Thus, internal environment is divided into two types: intracellular environment and extracellular environment. The intracellular environment, that is fluid present in the cytoplasm of cell. It mainly consists, or it is mainly the intracellular fluid. That is a fluid present in the cytoplasm of the cell. That is a cytosol. Okay, that is intracellular environment. That is a environment within the cell. Fluid within the cell. Fluid which is enclosed within the plasma membrane. That is intracellular environment. An extracellular environment, that is a fluid outside the cell, outside the body cells. Okay, thus this is mainly the fluid in between the cells in tissue. That is the interstitial fluid, and it also includes the blood and lymph, mainly blood and lymph. In addition to that, there are small spaces within the body tissue. These are outside the that particular tissue within the body cavity. There is also fluid. All these fluid, mainly the interstitial fluid, blood and lymph, it is called as a extracellular environment. That is the environment or the extracellular fluid outside the, that is outside the cell, outside the cells of the body. This extracellular environment. Thus, internal environment is divided into intracellular environment and extracellular environment. That is a fluid within the cell and fluid outside the cell. Okay. Thus, internal environment, it is the environment within the body of animal. Thus, it is nothing but the intracellular and extracellular environment. That is a environment within the body of animal. Environment within the body of animal. It includes the intracellular and extracellular. Thus here, water is universal solvent and the predominant molecules found in internal environment of body. Okay, the internal environment is formed by means of mainly the water, and water is universal solvent of the uh, in animal body. In animal body, and thus water is universal solvent, and water is present in body in cell as well as outside the cell. In addition to that, in that water there is a presence of the dissolved solutes, that is there is a presence of molecules, predominant molecule found in internal environment of body. Thus water and molecules are forms the internal environment. Inside the cell, outside the cell, the water and molecules are present. In the animal body, solutes vary in different parts of the body. Solutes, there are different solutes, and these solutes are again vary in different parts of the body. That is a inside the cell and outside the cell, these solutes are again different in concentration, or there is main component of main solutes are again different, or that is a vary. In addition to that, in various part of the body These solutes are vary. An appropriate balance of solutes inside and outside the cells must be maintained to ensure the normal function. To ensure the normal functions of the cells, ultimately normal functions of that systems, organs, as well as normal functions of body mainly. There is appropriate balance of solutes inside and outside the cell is maintained, and because of that these normal functions of the body or tissue or cells are performed in any living things or in animal. Okay, thus water and solutes are the main components of internal environment, and their balance inside the cell and outside the cell is maintained for the normal functions of the body. Thus, most of the water in the body is inside the cell, is called intracellular fluid. That is, most of the water content in the body is present in inside the cell, and it is in the form of intracellular fluid. Intracellular fluid. The one third second largest volume is the interstitial fluid, and one third is formed by means of the interstitial fluid, which surrounds the body cells. Which surrounds the body cells. Thus, here intracellular fluid forms the 60% of the total body fluid. Total body fluid, out of total body fluid, the 60% fluid is formed by means of intracellular fluid, and there is a 2% is the other fluid is there, which is the part of extracellular fluid. The 8% is formed by the plasma of the blood, plasma present in blood or blood vessels, and extracellular in that extracellular fluid 30% is formed by means of interstitial fluid. That is a major part, one third part of the extracellular fluid is formed by means of it is formed by means of interstitial fluid. That is 30% of the extracellular fluid is nothing but the intracellular interstitial fluid, and plasma forms the 8%, and other fluid, that is a lymph and other body fluids, forms the 2%. Okay, thus this pie chart shows that the intracellular fluid, percentage of intracellular fluid and percentage of extracellular fluid, and the 60% is the intracellular fluid and 40% is the extracellular fluid. Okay, thus here um, um, in that in that this 30% in that 40% is the extracellular fluid out of interstitial fluid forms the second largest volume, that is one third volume, is formed by means of the interstitial fluid. Thus here 60% is the intracellular fluid that is inside the cell. That is, if we consider the all body cells, total all body cells, uh, in all body cell there is presence of 60% of the fluid portion. Okay. Thus, here the total body mass of the uh, human male is considered. There is about 40% solids and 60% are the fluid portion. Okay, the two-third of the water in the body is inside the cell is called as intracellular fluid. That is 60%. 60% fluid. That is a two-third. Two-third of the water in the body is inside the cell in all cells of the body. Okay, it is called as intracellular fluid. That is, if you consider the body cell, this total body cells include or having about two-third of the water, two-third of the fluid portion of the total body, or the 60% of the fluid portion of the total body. That is, there is about 60% out of the body weight. Again, fluid portion is 60%, and out of that 60%, in two-third, that is 60% is the intracellular fluid. Okay, then out of the one-third extracellular fluid, one third is the extracellular fluid. That is, in that fluid portion, Suppose in human body, there is a 60% fluid is there. Out of that, 60% is intracellular fluid, and that is two-third. Okay, and one-third, that is how many percent extracellular fluid? Remaining 40%. 40%, that is one-third, is formed by means of the extracellular fluid, that is fluid outside the cell within the body, outside the cell within the body. And here uh, this is about out of that extracellular fluid, the 80% is the interstitial fluid. 80% is the interstitial fluid, that is a uh, again from that extracellular fluid, the one-third portion is formed by means of the interstitial fluid, that is a fluid in between the cell, fluid in between the cell which surround the cell, that is a interstitial fluid. You understand interstitial fluid? This is the intracellular, that is a fluid inside the cell, and interstitial fluid outside the cell. Interstitial, that is outside the cell. That is it is called as interstitial because it is in between the cell. Space between the cell is called as interstitial space, and the space is filled with the fluid called as interstitial fluid. And here one-third is the extracellular fluid, two-third is the intracellular fluid. Out of that one-third, 80% is the interstitial fluid, and 20% is in a blood, that is in blood plasma, from the plasma. Okay, thus 80 and 20 are the extracellular fluid, but there is a small amount from that. It is again present in lymph, as well as it is also present in other, that is in the brain, species in brain, in cerebrospinal fluid and other fluid, but it is again part of the interstitial fluid. Okay, do you understand this? That is here, out of the one-third extracellular fluid, second largest volume is 80% is interstitial fluid, which surrounds the body cells. Okay, which surround the body cell, and 20% is the blood plasma. The next, body fluid can be discussed in terms of their specific fluid compartments. That is, you can see there are compartments. Again, in last figure, you can see there are compartments. That is, a cell is nothing but the one compartment. Outside the cell, there is a large part is another compartment. Okay, another compartment. Then blood vessels, fluid passing through or flowing through. That is, plasma is present in these blood vessels. This is the another compartment. Then lymphatic fluid, lymphatic system is the another compartment. In this way, the blood or this body fluid can be discussed in terms of their specific fluid compartments. There are fluid compartments. You can see in this figure, these are the cells, these are the nucleus of the cell and the surrounding portion of the nucleus, and it also consists the organelle. But in addition to that, there is a presence of this fluid portion in organelle or even in nucleus. There is again fluid portion. All these fluid portion is the intracellular fluid. That is a fluid enclosed inside the enclosed by plasma membrane. By plasma membrane, it is nothing but the intracellular fluid. This is nothing but the intracellular compartment. Then fluid present in blood vessel. This is the blood vessel. That is the plasma. Thus, this is it is bounded by means of the wall of blood vessel. Thus, blood vessel having its wall, and inside that there is a fluid, and thus it is another compartment. Blood vessel is another compartment. Then fluid present in this interstitial fluid, it is another compartment. In this way, the body fluid can be discussed in terms of their specific fluid compartments. There are fluid compartments, intracellular fluid compartments, ICF, then plasma, and third one is the interstitial fluid compartment. Okay, thus these are the fluid compartments. A location that is largely separate from another compartment by some form of physical barrier. These compartments, specific fluid compartments, that locations are separated from each other by means of the barrier. Which are these barrier? The plasma membrane is one of the barrier to intracellular fluid. Then that is these fluids remain inside and there is exchange through this membrane only. Okay, this is the barrier. Then that is exchange through the semi-permeable membrane, that is a plasma membrane. Then blood vessel, blood capillaries. Blood capillaries are again porous, and there is porous, that is they are also permeable to some substances. Okay, because of that this exchange of substances from cell to interstitial fluid, from interstitial fluid to blood vessels in blood plasma. In this way, there is a barrier to these compartments. These are the physical barriers. Do you understand this? Okay. Now, the intracellular fluid, intracellular fluid compartments is the system that includes all fluid enclosed in cell by their plasma membrane. Thus, intracellular fluid means the all fluid includes or which enclosed within the plasma membrane. And extracellular fluid ECF. Here the short forms are intracellular fluid. The short form is ICF. Then extracellular fluid short form is ECF. It's ECF, that is extracellular fluid. It surrounds all cells in the body. Extracellular fluid, that is a fluid in between the cell, fluid in between the cells. That is, it automatically surrounds all cells. It surrounds the all cells. You can see in this figure this in extracellular fluid. It is also called as a, that is mainly this interstitial fluid, IF, because extracellular fluid is again divided into the blood plasma, and thus it is divided into blood plasma and interstitial fluid, but mainly it is the interstitial fluid, and thus uh, it surround, either it is a blood plasma or it is a interstitial fluid. It surround the all cells. Blood capillaries also surround the cells, and interstitial fluid also surround the cell. That is a fluid portion is diffuse some part or some nutrients along with water or along with that fluid. It is diffused from cell to interstitial fluid, from interstitial fluid into the plasma, or from plasma to interstitial fluid and interstitial fluid to cell cytoplasm, cell cytosol. That is, there is exchange of intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid, but extracellular fluid surrounds all cells of the body. Extracellular fluid has two primary constituents. One is the fluid component of the blood called as a plasma, and another interstitial fluid that surround the all cells. It is not the blood plasma. It is not present in blood. It is not present in, it is not part of plasma. It is a freely present around the cell. That is, any substance from the cell is first diffused in interstitial fluid, then it is taken in blood capillaries. That is, first diffused in interstitial fluid and then taking blood capillaries. Or from blood, it is again supplied first in interstitial fluid and then taken by the cell. In this way, the intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. What is the difference? They are in contact with each other, but there is a barrier, and they exchange their material with each other. Intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid exchange their material or content which present in them according to the pressure difference or osmotic pressure. They exchange this substance from one compartment to another compartment. Now, how these exchanges occur? This is because of the osmosis. It is because of body osmosis. That is because of diffusion. It is because of diffusion. In the body, water moves through semi-permeable membrane of cells and from one compartment of the body to another by a process called as osmosis. With the help of this experiment, you can see there is a semi-permeable membrane, and with this or in one compartment, if this arrange the one semi-permeable membrane, that is, these compartments are divided into two. On one side there is a salt concentration or solute concentration is more, and in another side there is a salt concentrations are less. But why this happen? That is due to the semi-permeable membrane. That is, this membrane is permeable to pass the water only, not to the solute particles, and hence it is called as a semi-permeable membrane. That is, water is diffused from one part to another part. Water always diffuse from high salt concentration to low salt concentration, and thus it is mainly for to maintain the equal ionic balance, to maintain the equal ionic balance. That is here uh, in body, water moves through semi-permeable membrane of the cell and from one compartment of the body to another by process called as osmosis, and that process is called as a osmosis, diffusion of water from one compartment to another compartment through a semi-permeable membrane. It is called as osmosis. The osmosis is basically the diffusion of water from the region of high concentration to region of low concentration. Thus, along a osmotic gradient across a semi-permeable membrane. That is along osmotic gradient, that is there is a difference in ionic concentration. And here on this side you can say there is a less amount of water is here, and here is a more water, but there is again more salt concentration. That is, there is a maintain the equal ionic concentration. Water is always move for to maintain the equal ionic concentration, because ion not transfer from one side to another side, but water can move. And here in this case, the water from this side is it is from this side is transfer, and because of that equal ionic concentration is maintained, and because of that two sides of the cell are there is a this may be the internal structure, or this may be the internal structure, and this may be the outer, or this may be the outer side. In paramecium live in external environment and maintain their ionic balance. Okay, thus here water move from uh, high ionic concentration to low ionic concentration to the region of lower concentration along osmotic gradients across the semi-permeable membrane, but finally the equal ionic concentration is maintained. As a result, water will move into and out of the cell and tissue depending on the relative concentration of the water and solutes found there. Water always move from high salt concentration to low salt concentration. But there is a again to maintain the equal ionic concentration. Now in this figure you can see the ionic concentration is equal according to the water concentration, according to the water volume of the water. Okay, and thus there is a equal ionic concentration is maintained due to the semi-permeable membrane. Relative concentration of the water and solutes. Okay, thus here solutes in internal environment, and because of that first we have to study in case of animal, and if you consider the single celled animal. Now in single celled animal the environment is different. That is, this is not a extracellular fluid, this is not extracellular fluid, this is the external environment of this animal, external environment of animal. But in case of other animals, multicellular animals, there are many cells within the body, and in between the cell there is a extracellular fluid. There is but in unicellular animal, the external environment is directly uh, that is close contact with the internal environment, and there is a membrane body wall is the barrier in between these uh, in between the external environment and internal environment. And here what are the solutes present in internal environment? Different types of solutes. If you consider the multicellular animal and many cells are there, instead of this single cell many cells of the body, we consider what are the solutes present in internal environment. The chemical reaction of the life takes place in aqueous solution. Chemical reactions are occurring in water. These are occurring in water. Because of that, most of the portion in the body is a fluid portion. Okay, and there are presence of solutes. There are these solutes, that is dissolved substances in a solution, are called as a solute. Either it is external aquatic environment also. There is a substances are dissolved in water. In human body or in other animals, these substances are dissolved in a water of the body. Thus now it is called as a intracellular environment. Thus in human body, the solutes vary in different parts of the body, but may include the protein. Solutes are different in different parts of the body. It may include the protein, lipid, carbohydrates, and very importantly electrolytes also. That is a positive electrolytes, that is a sodium ions are there. Negative electrolyte, that is chloride ions are there. That is sodium and chlorides are mainly the positive and negative electrolytes of the body in various animals, in different animals or in animal mainly. The elements, four major elements are present. These are nothing but they form the 99% of the elements. That is in addition to protein, lipid, carbohydrate, these are the solutes. In addition to that, there are elements are present, and these elements are the major elements, minor elements, and trace elements. The major elements are forms the 99% of the elements of the body. They are mainly hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon and nitrogen. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Actually, it is a subscript. Hmm? Subscript, not superscript. 2 is there. O2, O2. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. The minor element comprising 0.01 to 1% include the calcium, phosphate, potassium, and sulfur and magnesium. Okay, minor elements are they forms 0.01 to 1%. They are 0.01 to 1%. That is 99% is formed by means of the major element hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, and minor elements forms 0.01% to 1%. That is, they are nothing but the calcium, phosphate, potassium, sulfur, and magnesium mainly. The trace elements are in very small amount, that is less than 0.01%. They are less than 0.01%, that is iron, fluorine, zinc, iodine, etc. Isn't it? An appropriate balance of the solute inside and outside the cell must be maintained to ensure the normal function. An appropriate balance is maintained between the balance of the solutes between the inside the cell and outside the cell. That is, inside and outside balance of solutes is maintained for mainly for the normal body function, normal cell function. That is, with the help of this example, paramecium directly leaves its external environment, but if you consider its intracellular environment and their extracellular, that is a also external environment, it is also external environment, it is also extracellular environment, and thus there is a inside and outside solute concentration is balanced or it is a maintained the solutes in internal environment. Thus now this is the video mainly for the educational purpose. These are the links used for the images. Thank you very much.